you want to do a little role play with me? Maybe I can sell Salesloft. You can be the VP of sales at Dunder Mifflin. Okay. And we can have a little mini discovery call to show you the questions I might start asking.
I mean, I love role play, as a salesperson, we all love it, don't we? So I'm up for this 100%. And this is the first for the podcast. So let's go for it.
I thought I might surprise you this one. Right. So let's just say, to context here, you're a VP of sales. Don't be too hard on me because we want to make sure it's actionable. But you've come for a discovery call. The first thing I might ask is, hey, appreciate you coming in, Tom. Are you happy for just spend a few minutes me asking you some questions to see if there's a fit between Salesloft and Acme?
Sounds good. Yeah, let's do it.
Permission's important because otherwise they're going to feel like they're being interrogated, and they're going to think, what's going on here? All right, great. So what was the reason you wanted to have a conversation today, Tom?
Well, this was obviously set up by someone else, but I do like the look of what you do, and really, I just want to know a bit more.
You want to know a bit more about what we do here at Salesloft? Have I got that right?
That's right.
Yeah. So typically, when people come to us or when we go to people, they're often solving one of three challenges, facing one of three challenges. Do you mind if I just list those off and see if any of those are relevant to you?
Go for it.
Sure. So challenge number one, they're having really low response rates. Their SDRs just aren't booking enough meetings. Challenge number two, they've got a complete lack of visibility in their sales cycles. So they're finding it really hard to forecast, especially with top of funnel activities. And the third problem is their team are just too slow. They're not doing enough. They're not hitting their activity benchmarks. Which of those three problems is the most relevant to you?
Well, I mean, I think we touch on all of them here, but probably the idea of benchmarking and understanding success.
Right. So it sounds like visibility would be the most relevant of those three things. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, I'm not really sure what they're up to. We're all remote, they're all over the place, trying to manage people around the world here. And I've got stuff to do, I've got calls to make, and, I've got a family as well. I'm being torn left, right, and center. So I need to understand what the team are doing.
That makes a lot of sense. And I'm sorry to hear you being thrown around so much, trying to chase down a bunch of salespeople. What do you think the reason is that you don't have that visibility today?
Well, I think I feel a bit like I'm out in the dark, right? I have to take what the team are telling me as gospel. I don't know if it's the truth. That's kind of it.
How are they currently giving you that information?
WhatsApp.
Oh no, Tom. Sorry to hear that.
I know. I hate WhatsApp. It's all GIFs and memes.
And it seems as though that information they're giving you isn't always accurate.
That's correct.
What's the reason you think they're not giving the most up-to-date information?
I don't know if it's because they're ashamed. I'm not sure, but I just want to see everything that they've got.
Sure. So to me, let's take a stop there. To me, I'm hearing a root cause there that maybe their reps are maybe a little bit ashamed of their results and are not willing to be transparent about what they're doing, basically. So that's the root cause we might want to solve. To me, it sounds like a control issue. The reps, they're not doing exactly what they want because they want to be misleading, or they don't want to get in trouble for their activity. So that's what we're trying to try and solve with Salesloft. So that's the root cause. So just to make sure I got this right, Tom, your team, you're currently having to chase everywhere. You're getting sent information via WhatsApp. That's not always up to date. And it seems as though the team are kind of telling you what you want to hear rather than what the actual fact is. Have I got that right?
That's right.
Awesome. Well, not awesome. I apologize. What happens when you don't have that visibility into what the team are doing?
Well, I'm unable to then understand from my perspective the performance. I can't then share that to my team. I'm just a bit lost with it all.
What happens when it's oftentimes when I'm talking to VPs of sales, they're often rolling those numbers up to someone above them, like a CEO. What happens when you give them potentially misleading information?
We have to have a very serious talk, and I often start to sweat, which is why I'm happy to be on this call to see if you've got a solution for that.
That makes sense. So just to maybe recap, when you don't get the right numbers, you end up passing that problem along to the CEO. He's probably feeling similar ways to the way you mentioned earlier, frustrated, and that creates some tension between you. How long has this been a problem for?
From day one.
Day one. Wow. And you've been there for almost 3 years. I'm crikey. All right. So that's kind of my impact there. I've got an emotional situation. I might even dive a little bit deeper into that. These questions get a lot harder to ask when you get close to that emotional, but they're the best questions because we might uncover, Tom, that you're at risk of losing your job because the CEO is so frustrated, right? Yeah. So what we've uncovered there is a root cause. The reps don't want to tell you because they're not doing the right kind of work. And then the impact is that you've got a hard relationship now going with your CEO, and it's taking an emotional toll on you. You're frustrated. You're tired. You want to spend more time with your family. So those are some impacts there as well, and that's ultimately what we could solve.
So great. It's great to hear you talk about this, because when you talk about root cause, impact, demonstrating that, like, I know that the listeners might be like, well, how does that actually sound? But to see it brought to life in the role play, and I thought I brought something to the character as well.